What's up, family? Praises and cheers. So, we're going to go over the 9 centers in the human design body graph that everyone has, but some people have certain centers defined, some people have them open, and some people have them undefined. So, what we have to do, regardless of what your uniqueness has, is refine all of the centers in your human design body graph. Because if you do not refine your centers, no matter if they're consistently getting energy or not, making them defined or not, it doesn't matter if they are of a frequency that is taking you out of holographic God mode, allowing your aura field to leak energy, allowing your DNA to not be etherically charged. So, take these words in, because we're about to go in. I'm going to go in from order of most importance to kind of least importance. So this is where the Jing and the Qi and the Shin, all three leak the most energy out of, ether out of. All right. So this is a lot to contemplate on, because when you contemplate on these things, then you automatically start rewriting your DNA just by contemplating these things. Automatically. So we're 2 minutes in. What more can I say before we go in? I'm going to say that these centers aren't talked about in most places in the human design field for this ability, because human design is based in you experimenting and learning to experiment. It's not based in alchemy. Now, naturally, with you learning to experiment, there's a subtle alchemy that takes place, and that's called the deconditioning process, where you turn your aura into a flying carpet. Yet, if you don't have a really good relationship with alchemy in general, human design might lead you to just creating a more of a homogenized mind based in your chart, rather than based in what you can do with your genetics, with more consciousness being entertained and then eventually harnessed and cultivated, and bringing in an accumulation of more than 9 ether energy. When we say 9 ether, we're also talking about each 9 center. Each 9 center having a part in placing itself as a part of your body, your non-ether energy of your body. So it's good to know that 90% of your body is in your aura, because now you can look at each center as 10% of your actual body, and then your physical body being the last 10%. Each 9 center is 10% of your actual body, and then your physical body is the last 10%. So now we're talking the actual semantics of how to gain your godhood sovereignty back, based in the things that leak you from being yourself, the true you, the true holographic creator of the multiverse, the holofractal field, the morphogenetic realm of magnetism. All right? These morphogenetic realms of magnetism that you live in one, most people live on only one at a time, until they break that spell of not being multidimensional. So we want to break that spell of not being multidimensional today, and we want to give you the tool to be multidimensional at all times by having these things to contemplate on. That is the most prevalent ways that Jing is leaking and Qi is leaking and Shin is leaking, or just non-ether is leaking out of your aura and not allowing you to just cultivate more ether day by day with the mind itself, the aura itself. All right, obviously you do have to have a good enough body to harness ether and open up your chakras and meridians, but if you can get past the mental aura blockages that human design can provide, then you can get to the point where you have a lot more time to open up the body channels, clean the body out, and stretch open the channels and some of the muscles that the channels run along. You have a lot more time to do that because you're not caught up in the mind traps of the spell of the 3 and 6 ether traps that have led you to be only a one-dimensional being, or a two-dimensional being, or a three-dimensional being. Depends on how deep you are in the trap. All right, so we'll start off now. We'll start off with the heart center. The heart center is about proving your worth to the world. So if you know in your heart of hearts that you're God, then you don't need to prove your willpower to the world. You don't need to try to provide a sense of promise to the world, because you know that you are the creator of the world. You know that you put yourself in a position where you never need to try to prove how much strength you have from the inside out to the world. So no proving, no improving, and no promising. So improving looks like you just trying to improve on one thing inside of the mind to make somebody else or some paradigm of the mind, of the dimension, feel like you're more worthy. All right? So that's one. That's the strongest one. Number 2 is not being able to speak your truth and confront reality for the non-contracting and contracting that you are doing with reality. To be able to speak your truth and go beyond the emotional realm of feeling guilty and shameful about your truth is the second most important center that allows you to shine your aura even bigger and brighter, non-ether style, Solarian style. You being able to understand about the emotionality and the emotional maturity of reality so you can speak your truth and confront reality for its ability to try to contract with you and get your consciousness locked into spells or not. It's key. That's the second key for sure. Third is looking outside of yourself. Well, let me say, the second is the solar plexus. Third is the G center. Looking outside of yourself for self-love, self-identity, and self-direction. Now, if you're the God of this whole reality, that you're holographically projecting from your pineal as the true inner sun, inner source sun, then why are you looking outside of yourself as the first mirror? The first mirror is actually within inside of self. Before you are a third dimensional being, you are a being of silence and stillness and darkness, not of the 5 senses that you live in this third dimension. Now, obviously, you can look outside of yourself in higher dimensions, but those higher dimensions are going to be closer to that silence and that stillness and that darkness that allow you to be closer to your inner self. So you want to look inwards towards your breath, towards your magnetic monopole, which is the hyperbole of your overall torus field. All right? That magnetic monopole in your G center, that diamond in the middle. That G center is telling you for self-love, self-identity, and self-direction, you cannot be based in nothing outside of you or nothing in your five senses. If you do, you're going to be leaking the non-ether energy. If you do, you're going to be in the spell of the Mukasu, the ghost, the death spirit, the death spell, the 6 ether and 3 ether spells. The spell of you not being multidimensional, because that's what's first when it comes to your self-love, identity, and direction, is you being multidimensional. Okay, so fourth is your crown chakra, or crown center, at the very top of your human design body graph. What you have is you always looking to figure out other people's problems and solve other people's thoughts, because everybody has thoughts in their head in this third dimension, but nobody has solutions to the problems that goes with those thoughts that are just floating in the background of the subconscious mind. All these philosophical thoughts and questions that are just floating in the background of their philosophical subconscious mind. And how does it portray to their uniqueness? You are not here to try to solve everybody's problems. The crown chakra is a chakra that you actually ascend to your avatar and indigo, rishi states of being. So you have to get past your crown chakra to get there, or you have to expand your crown chakra higher after you get to your oversoul. You have to expand your crown chakra even more than your oversoul to even get to these higher dimensional states of yourself. So what you want to do is give yourself a lot more time to get into that meditative mode where you're not having problem solving beta wave brain state thoughts, and you are just not, if it doesn't light you up holistically in your body to try to figure out people's solutions for problems that they might not even be giving a lot of energy to themselves, then why are you trying to solve everybody else's issues? That's leaking shin automatically. Your shin will be leaking, it won't be getting cultivated, or your consciousness and mind powers won't be getting cultivated. So your soul, your oversoul will, be fragmented, because you don't get enough time throughout the day and night to just focus on where in your DNA can you equip more energy into your DNA so you can have non-ether energy, non-ether knowledge, non-ether reasoning. All right? That's the crown center in your human design body graph. Under the crown center in your human design body graph, you have the Ajna center. The Ajna center is all about trying to provide a sense of certainty, like a proving of a certainty, or proving of, in some type of sense, a spiritual worth to the world, or a spiritual clarity, certainty to the world. Like, you don't have to prove that to nobody. When you try to make you look like you have a sense of certainty in the world, what this does is just limit your own ability to get the codes that the Ajna can even take from the five senses day in and day out, because you're so caught up in feeling certain about what you know and what you think you know, right? So many people think that they know what spirituality is, but aren't even a multidimensional being. They can't even say it that clearly. They can't even articulate it that clearly, because their certainty is blocking them from expanding their multidimensional mind. Their more of like their sixth chakra, but it can also be seen as your 8th and 9th chakra as well. This Ajna center. All right. So, yeah, no trying to debate nobody in this reality. Know what you know, give what you know, and make sure that you're always open to the expansion and the mutability of what you know. All right? That knowledge has to come from energy first. So if you don't have the energy, in general, you shouldn't be debating anyone. If you ain't really sovereign in your own energy and never complaining about energy, in general, you should never have any time to debate. All right, next. So that's 5 of them. We got 4 more left. Next is going to be your spleen center. Your splenic center, which is on the opposite of your solar plexus center, is where you have intuitive insight and wisdom that comes from being mutable with what feels good and what feels resonant. So things could be resonating for a certain time. A lot of people get caught up with identity with what they resonate with, and the pride starts to kick in and what they're resonating with. But everything has a reason and a season. And so if you don't give yourself the time to say, hey, this was maybe good for me for a little bit, but I'm not gonna like get caught up on it forever, then what you're gonna have is fear addictions grow and grow and grow. Fear addictions that something might not be as good, or the grass isn't greener on the other side. So you want to know that the grass is always greener on the other side, no matter what, but you have to like be able to let go of these fear addictions, and then know that you can tap deeper into your insight and in your intuition through that splenic center. When you know that, hey, just because it feels good doesn't mean that, you know, there's not going to be some pain that might come with it over time if we don't not make it into a lifestyle, or, you know, refine what this really could be. So that's the splenic center, making things known to be mutably growing, not just locked into certain pleasures that are always going to have to be balanced out with certain pains, regardless. This is what it's about, having the balance so you can have the energy to have more reasoning. Next is going to be, this was where it kind of depends. Because in general, if you're a projector, then a lot of times it can, or if you're a non-energy type, a lot of times one of the biggest things for you is going to be not burning out with just energy expenditures that you're getting into in life. But we'll go to for if it was a generator, because this is mainly who I'm talking to on Earth right now, generators. Next would be your root. So your root deals with the timing, the multidimensional timing that you're on. So if anyone ever rushes you into anything in reality, they are being religious with you, and religion is one of the biggest opiums, because it literally stresses your adrenal glands out for you to rush for somebody else's narrative, which is their root chakra, which is their tribal identity, which is their roots to reality. You know, and that can be all fragmented and distorted. So you want to be able to sit there and, you know, really see, like, why am I rushing? I should never rush, because number one, time is only subjected to the actual dimension that you're in. The partikai, particum, and partiki, partika is based in, or pretty much the fragments of crystalline light and space and sound are based in that dimension that you're in. So really there's no rush. There's, like, time is linear based in what dimension you're in. And so if you're in a different dimension, time is fast. If you're higher dimension, time is quote unquote faster, and it's more closer to that unified grand field of everything automatically being scalar, based on if you're 3D, it's a little slower. So it's actually always scalar no matter what. So there's no need to ever rush anything, because nature is always on its own beautiful timing. All the mother matrices are always on their own beautiful timing. And so you just have to align to those matrices. There's never any rush for anything. Your adrenals leak a lot of jing if you're ever rushing, because that means rushing is gonna equate to your cortisol level going up. Your cortisol level going up means that you have a slower, lower, and weaker aura field, because now you're trying to hide your aura field because you're in fight or flight. But if you're in parasympathetic nervous system rather than sympathetic nervous system, you will want to just shine your aura field, because you know that you're just a blossoming point of existence in nature that is looking to help all of nature. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the root chakra, making sure that you're not on anybody else's timing. As God, you know that you create all these parallels in your reality in general for your own wisdom of your soul and your oversoul. So there's no need to ever let somebody else's narrative ever rush you into anything, even if you're being based in the seasons. If it's not for you, it's not for you. No need to ever stress and let the Jing spill, because less Jing equals less potency of cultivating the 9 ether energy, harnessing the 9 ether energy in general. Next is going to be your throat chakra, which is speaking for attention. Now, the ether chakra of the throat has the ability to create a lot of reality. Obviously, everything comes from an archetypical story. Everything in reality that we're looking at, the narrative of language itself, is coming from a story of mythos itself. So when we speak, in general, we are creating reality. We're casting spells. And a lot of people just speak so they can have the spell casted of other beings in their reality, and their hologram give them energy and attention. In actuality, you don't need to be a vampire. You don't need to speak that much. You don't need to speak when you have something to respond to, or neutral information, or healing information, healing stories, etc. But a lot of people speak, and they're just speaking the mind, the non-multidimensional mind, which is based in the past, being scared of the future. That's the reason why they're speaking. So they're really just scared of the future, and they're looking to not be scared of the future and get some energy and help from you by sucking some energy from you. So you don't want to do that, because you're already tapped into source. There's so much more source inside in the higher dimensions than there is in the third dimensional mind, that feels like it needs to look outside to the five senses and try to abstract energy from the 5 senses. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. Energy is already scalar and etheric. You don't need to speak for attention to get energy out of people. Speaking for attention is just it's an abandonment trauma. It's an abandonment wound that will wreck your nervous system for real, because you won't actually see people responding to you, because you're speaking so much that they don't even know what to really respond to. So it's just going to wreck your nervous system even more. Next, or lastly, is going to be the sacral chakra, which is about contracting with energy. So every single thing that we do is a contract of energy. And if you don't have enough energy to fulfill what your body wants to fulfill first, then you really shouldn't be going into anything. You shouldn't have any contracts with anything, because that's your creative energy. That's your creative juices that you are depleting by overexhausting yourself with things that are, not so aligned to your womb space. So yeah, your Neigong is going to help you understand your womb space more, and you're going to be able to understand what really is a body yes based contract, that your body has enough energy, it knows it can fulfill that mission, or that even side mission, or paradigm the way that it can, and knows it can fulfill it. Make sure that you ask your body multiple times if it has enough energy to fulfill any mission every single day. If not, then it's just one of those things where you're going to be leaking Jing from your sacral center, and it's just going to be burning your sexual ujas. You're going to be depleting your sexual ujas day by day. Your kidneys are going to wear out day by day. So once again, these are the 9 centers in the human design body graph that allow you to stay a multidimensional god of your reality. Know that all is just a hologram of fractaline crystalline waves and light angles that create different densities and different dimensions and different formats of spirit ether or soul ether that allow you to experience reality from a sovereign state. This sovereign state is going to grow the more that you contemplate on all these 9 centers. It's going to grow more. That sovereign state is just going to be getting you back into your original state of joy, peace, and bliss, being your own holy trinity of the story to your reality, the song to your reality. And you'll be able to take this wisdom and scale it, multiply it, give value to the world, because everybody in the world needs this value. So praises and cheers. Let this be a vast contemplation of your reality and your psyche and your mind. That's what it's here for. It's to give you this Buddhic, nirvanic, Christic mind that allows your avatar body to come online in your aura field, and you see yourself as a Christ, Buddha stated being, and enter into nirvana and samadhi states for their actual dimension and density more and more often, because you have more energy to have the correct mind that allows you to have the reasoning of where to go in your meditations, in your astral projections, and your lucid dreaming, as a part of your daily lifestyle and culture. So once again, praises and cheers. Enjoy yourself.